The Joe Rogan Experience.
They know what they're doing out there, right? The people in office.
Well, I mean, Tulsi can speak to that better than anybody.
I don't know Mayor Biss. I may have met him in passing, but this has been one of the big failures around the aftermath of the wildfire on Maui, is this total vacuum of information from government officials to the people. And in that vacuum, obviously people have all kinds of ideas or theories or this or that, but people were left without any kind of communication from anyone in a position of authority to provide help for days and weeks. And it created massive problems. And so, the immediate line of response needed to come from the county and from the mayor and from their emergency response director. And unfortunately, they did not communicate. They're still not communicating. There's still a huge lack of transparency and therefore an increasing level of distrust in any of the levels of government that should be bending over backward to answer questions and to say, hey, here's what's going on every single day. Here's what we're doing. Here's what we're trying to do. Here's what we're having a hard time doing. Whatever the case may be, it's been a major problem from the beginning.
Do you think that this is because of a complete lack of preparedness, that this is an unprecedented type of disaster? Never happened before. It happens and they just weren't prepared. They don't know what to do. And it's incompetence?
I think that is very true. And there's, in hindsight, there are things going back Maui has experienced drought year after year after year. Brush fires are a common occurrence, especially on the west side of Maui. Where Lahaina is, the side of the island that was most impacted by this. It is, being prepared for wildfires on Maui is something that if you look at their, emergency assessment documents, it's mentioned almost as a bit of an afterthought. Maui Fire has been vastly undermanned and under-resourced for quite some time. So there's all these different things you can look at from a preparedness level that should have been addressed long before. But from, the county officials, yes, they were completely overwhelmed and unprepared for this unprecedented wildfire. It's the worst wildfire our country has seen in over 100 years. But the problem is, once you get to that point, like, oh, shit, this is really, really, really bad, not only in the hundreds of lives lost in that fire, but the surrounding communities of people who survived, but who went without power, who went without any cell phone signal, any ability to communicate with people, who didn't have, all of the gas stations in their neighborhood, they were empty. There was no way to get gas. They couldn't get food. They couldn't get clean water. The water supply systems were contaminated. I mean, there was disaster upon disaster that came in the aftermath of the fire that went unaddressed. And my biggest, I went there a few days after the fire happened. Maui was my district for 8 years when I served in Congress, and had a lot of friends there and went out to those affected communities. And what I heard over and over again was no one from the county, the state, or the federal government has shown their face in our community. It is neighbors helping neighbors, families helping families, people on the island of Molokai, which they don't have much on their island. Everything comes in by barge. They're loading up whatever they have in their general store on these little boats and running them over to West Maui on a private boat dock, because that was the only place that they wouldn't be blocked from bringing food and water and medical supplies.
Now, why are people being blocked? I keep hearing that about people being blocked. Is it because they haven't gotten an accurate death count? Is it because they have to make an assessment of how much was damaged and it's so massive, it's so vast that they haven't been able to do that yet? Like, why is it being blocked?
Things are being opened up now. I think people are able to get in and out of the West Maui area. I understand that the historic town of Lahaina is still being blocked off, and they're working on reopening it as we speak. But in the couple of weeks after the fire, I don't have a good answer why they continue to block the roads again to those surrounding communities. Why they blocked people like Kai Lenny and others from using their jet skis and boats to try to bring supplies in through the water.
I heard some of the same stories, and looking into this a little bit, I was coming across some of the same types of stories where people were trying to, collect goods and deliver them to those folks. And when they would try to deliver them, they were denied. And it's just insane. And listen, I understand, people wanting to be safe and whatever else. If that's the thing, I somewhat get it. But in the situation of an emergency, listen, and I try to put myself I always tell y'all this, I try to put myself in other people's shoes and see things from their perspective. And if I was in that situation and there was just a wildfire that just devastated the area that I lived in, no home, no water, no money, I might have $700, right, from the government because they're here to help us, even though they'd rather help another country and spend. Anyway, I'm not going to go on that rant. I wouldn't care where the help is coming from. I just need help. And I would highly doubt that people would deliver tainted goods to folks. If it's tainted, hey, then so be it. It was God's plan, in my humble opinion. Then it is what it is, right? But I want help. I need help. I don't have food, right? I barely have any money. This $700 isn't going to go anywhere, especially on an island out in the middle of the ocean, right? I'm sure everything is crazy expensive there because you got to think shipping all of that stuff is going to be a whole lot more. Getting the goods to those folks, it's a lot more expensive to get them their goods than it is here on the mainland, so to speak, right? So $700 is basically nothing. It's nothing. That's not even enough to pay their rent, let alone their grocery bills. So I just don't understand. If anybody else has any more experience with that kind of thing, let us all know in the comment section. Is that standard procedure? Like I said, I could see why it would be, because of possible contamination. It can't be, vetted and, looked through and sorted through and whatnot. But in that type of dire situation, if I'm in their shoes and I'm looking at it or trying to from their perspective, I don't know with 100% certainty. I just want help. But how would y'all feel? Let me know in the comment section. Maybe I'm crazy.
You could say, well, we were trying to secure the area, but you're blocking friends and family from coming in and bringing necessary supplies, literally doing supply runs. So, I jumped on a plane that was doing supply runs from Kahului, the main airport on Maui, out to this tiny little airport that serves that community. And that was, for a lot of days, the only way that they could get supplies brought in. I don't know. I really don't know. But again, this goes back to, why aren't you communicating to people what's going on and why you're doing what you're doing? All the result of their decisions left people and families and communities stranded in their most dire time of need. And the mayor didn't go out and show his face until almost 2 weeks after the fire happened.
That's insane.
It's crazy.
And then says he wants to take the land for the state. That's his first.
Now,
word.
this is
I think
one of
the
the
governor
reasons. Yeah,
says
this is
that.
one of the
governor,
reasons why I
sorry.
wanted to talk about this. Like, how is that possible? That these people could lose their home and then lose their land? Like, how is that possible?
It is the number one concern of people there in Lahaina, is that a few days after this happened, I haven't spoken to the governor, but he said in a press conference, he said, we're talking to the attorney general. He said, I'm talking to my attorney general to explore options for the state to take over that land and use it to build workforce housing or build a memorial to the for the people who lost their lives. Yeah. But the fears that the people in Lahaina have, some of whom, like Archie Kalepa, famous surfer, community leader, Native Hawaiian leaders, family has lived in Lahaina for 9 generations, now being told, well, the state, the governor is looking at taking that land, taking ownership of that land, that it is unconscionable. And there's, we'll for those who've been displaced, we'll see about doing a land swap and we'll send you to the Big Island to live in Puna.
Jesus.
It's taking away the sovereignty of people's rights to have a say over their home, in many cases, their generational lands,
That's Democrats for you. That's Democrats for you. They always know what's best over you, right? They always know what's best. You don't know what's best for you. They know what's best for you. They know that they need to take over the land and build a memorial and everything for you. Even though you're telling them, no, we want our land back. We want our lives back. This is where we lived for generations. This is where my family has raised generations, right? We just want our land back. That's it. That's it. Give us some cash. Matter of fact, just get out of our way. Give us the money and get out of our way. Give us our cash and get out the way. We just need the money. We'll rebuild it ourselves. We don't need y'all help. If I'm in their shoes, that's what I'm saying. Now, obviously, I don't know with 100% certainty. That's their perspective, right? But at this point, that's my perspective if I'm in their shoes. Or that's my statement if I'm in their shoes. Just give me the cash and get out of my way. Go. We don't need you. We don't need you. Just get. We need money from you, and that's it. Go on about your business. In my whole opinion, but how are y'all feeling? Let me know.
It is such an abuse of power, and so this is, and I'm glad that there are leaders in the community who are leaning into this fight to make sure that they are fighting this fight before anybody tries to do that, rather than looking in the rearview mirror and saying, "Gosh, I wish we had done something."
But just imagine a governor going on television after a massive tragedy where we don't even know the number of people dead yet. You have this massive area that's been burnt to the ground.
Yeah.
And then he starts talking about taking it over for the state. That's an insane position to take.
It is.
Post-tragedy. When
And
people are suffering at their most, they can't even believe it happened.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's saying, we're going to take it for the state and make a memorial? How about give the fucking people their homes back?
Exactly.
You know, one of the things we went over yesterday, which is a crazy number, we were looking at the amount of money that was accidentally sent to Ukraine. Like they oversent $6 billion. And then I said, well, how much would it cost to rebuild every house in the Maui fire? And it's $5 billion, $5 billion something.
Yeah.
Like that's just like accidental money. Yeah. But there's no talk of doing that. There's no talk of doing that. Isn't that interesting?
The way, and it's happened 2 or 3 times now where the Pentagon has said, "Oh, we miscalculated how much money we had set aside for Ukraine, so we have an extra $4 billion to send now that we didn't know we had." And this has happened a few times. Secretary of State Tony Blinken went to Kiev yesterday, promising, "Hey, we're going to give you another $1 billion now." And this is the thing: when I was out there in Maui, person after person was like, "Tulsi, tell me what would happen if we started to call ourselves Ukraine. You think they would give us some money then to take care of our families, to fix our roofs, that have been torn up by the hurricane winds that came through, to make sure we have clean water to drink? You think they might pay attention to us then?" And then FEMA comes out, the FEMA director comes out and does this press conference. I think it was at the White House. And she says, well, someone said, "Well, what are you doing for Maui?" She's like, "Oh, we're giving a one-time $700 payment to everybody who's been impacted by the wildfire. A one-time $700 payment."
It's insane.
Hawaii has the highest cost of living in the entire country. The entire country. And how freaking insulting is it to have the lead disaster response administrator from the Biden administration stand there and proudly say, "Hey, we're giving everybody one $700 payment."
It's insane. And it's insane especially because of how much money we're sending to Ukraine.
Yeah.
Because there can be no doubt that these things are financially motivated now.
What's happening is just absolutely disgusting. It really does anger me. It truly does. We could send billions to a completely other country, billions to a completely other country, and we miscalculated. We got some more billions that we could send, and we haven't just dropped those billions right on Maui and those residents in Lahaina. I believe that's Lahaina. I believe that's how you pronounce that. We haven't dropped some billions there. And I recently heard that allegedly in the bill that they were going to pass to provide the residents more money, they were also trying to pass, and I don't know if this is true, I need to do some more digging. They were also trying to pass more money for Ukraine. Yeah. Democrats wanted to tie the money for the residents who had their homes burnt to the ground with money sent to another country. They wanted to tie that in one bill. So what I predict, if this is true, is going to happen is you're going to have a lot of Republicans that are true Republicans, not the rhinos, that are going to vote no. And then you're going to have a bunch of Democrats that are going to come out here and say, oh, see, Republicans did not want to help those people. They didn't want to help the people of Maui. And because, you know, the leftist media is for the left, of course, the media is going to repeat the same thing while Republicans are going to be shouting at the top of their lungs. But because leftist media is going to vouch for the left, you're going to have a lot of people buying that BS. So I guess it's up to us when that does happen, if it does happen, to let people know, no, that's not true. Read the bill. They tried to tie in the money for Ukraine with this money. If they would have separated them, Republicans would have voted for the issue. Voted yes for the issue, not voted for the issue, but voted yes on the bill. But that's allegedly what I've heard could possibly happen. Like I said, I need to do some more digging to confirm that, but if that is true, it's absolutely disgusting. But I want to dive into a couple more clips here from some residents of Maui so you guys can hear directly from them and what they have to say about this absolute, I mean, just this stuff is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And I hope everyone remembers this come election time. What these Democrats have done to people in this country. Remember this. Remember this. And remember the wall that Donald Trump wanted to build. And they said, oh, no, it's too expensive. It's too expensive. You know, it's billions. You know, no, 5, 10 billion. No, absolutely not. It's too expensive. Hi, I'm from Ukraine. Oh, you need money? Absolutely. How many billions do you need? 50 billion? Gotcha. Hi, I'm from Ukraine. Hi! How many more billions do you need? You need another 20 billion? Gotcha. I'll write the check. No problem. Here you go. Oh, you're from Maui? Here's 700. Have a great day. Check out these clips.
Busted our and this is what we get. Nobody called us. Our phones didn't work from 5 in the morning. The fire was not 10 o'clock when I went to work. The fire was still there. There was no water. Tell me if that's coincidence. No water, no warning. And everybody talking about the satellite city before the fire. Lahaina going to be the first satellite city. Well, hey, Jeff Bezos, you got what you wanted. Oprah, you got what you wanted. And the guy who owns the nut, you got what you wanted. That's all over.
This meeting
Allegedly, of course.
Not stand is valid, and you have no authority, Nani, to do what you guys are doing here. Take the meeting back to the county of Maui.
We don't want to be living in housing. We don't want to go into a little rural area where it's subjected to what? Poverty. That's what you guys do to us.
This is a warning to everyone who knows the unjust that's been done in this emergency proclamation. The emergency that I see today is Lahaina.
You are not representing the people, and that has to change.
Don't sit here in a round table and make decisions for the majority, because you are very much the minority.
Just want to remind you guys that you guys work for us. We come here to talk about something, and then you guys start fighting back with us. You work for us. You don't talk to your boss like that, right? Who talks to their boss like that? Look at Josh Green, how weak man. What happened? I came inside, what? He got to go check his bevities? What is going on? He only signs the bill to further his political career. So what is next? He let go for president. And that's what you guys look for. Oh, that's the guy I look up to. The guy who screws everybody over to get to the
How sad, right? How sad. But Democrats, of course, you know, claim to care about everyone. And yet, time and time again, they have proven that they don't. They do not. They've had opportunities. And they failed at every opportunity. Every single opportunity they have failed. And there was also speculation that, people were trying to purchase and take away the residents' homes. Check out this clip.
Realtors, people in the real estate industry are calling your family and your friends who have lost everything to buy their plots of land.
It is disgusting. We have real estate investors and speculators going around calling our victims, offering to give them cash and buy their property. It is disgusting. It's a land grab. And I know that our Lahaina community, we are resilient and we will do whatever it takes to protect Lahaina.
And that's one of the big concerns as they search for the missing and the dead, is that Lahaina doesn't lose its spirit, right? That people from the outside don't come and rebuild and turn it into a tourist mecca.
We've already been displaced enough, and we plan to have a seat at the table in rebuilding Lahaina and ensuring that the rich cultural history of Lahaina is protected and that the multi-generational families get to come back home.
How disgusting is that? Now, I get it, right? People, have money. They're like, hey, these people need money. But at the same time, it's like, come on, man. Really? In this situation? Man, this stuff is just insane. And then, of course, you have the government. Here's $700. Even though we're sending billions overseas, to another country, here's $700. And if you want money, allegedly, we're going to have to send more billions over to that country, because if we don't, then you don't get any money either. Allegedly. Got to say that. Some of you have asked why I say that. It's because I have to, of course, if that one wasn't obvious already. But, yeah, man, this stuff is just absolutely terrible. And my heart and my thoughts go out to, all of those people affected. I mean, it should have been simple, quick, simple, easy to solve, kind of thing. You would think, right? It shouldn't take rocket science to figure this one out, honestly. But because Democrats control the government, I guess, this is what it is. A million different hoops and back doors to walk through. And I just, man, remember this next election. Share this video too. Y'all let me know what you thought about this one in the comment section below. Like, share, comment. Hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.